Good morning, everyone. Grateful to be here. Once again, my name is Ryan Lynn. I am the Assistive Technology Department Manager, and I'm grateful to be here with you all with January 2025 Tech It Out. This morning, we're going to be speaking to one of our very own folks, Roberto Alatano, and he is going to be covering some amazing information and tech that has come out from Apple with the iOS updates. And so iOS 18 updates. And so without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Roberto.
Good morning, everyone. Give me one quick second.
Unloading JAWS.
I don't know if Jaws was getting in the way, but either way. So I am going to be talking about the new updates that you know, iOS has released. Mainly these updates you will find either in the new iPad or the new iPhone, the iPhone 16, iPhone 15. But some of these other ones you will find in iOS 18, whichever device you're using. I was told that some of these updates don't quite apply to all iPhones, so I do apologize if I am speaking of some updates that aren't available to you, but hopefully further down the line they will be. So the three topics I do want to talk about is VoiceOver, Siri, and Apple Intelligence. I'm going to begin with VoiceOver and talk a few new things that you can find on VoiceOver. So here we go. All right, so I don't know how many of you guys have been using voiceover recognition. It's almost like using seeing AI, but at the same time, it's not. When you're using voiceover recognition, you're able to point the camera as long as voiceover is on, and VoiceOver will basically be announcing what it sees. So if you're, moving the camera around the room, VoiceOver will be announcing the objects and the items that it sees. However, VoiceOver has added a new update, and this is called live recognition. With this new mode, you're able to point at text. And so, for example, if maybe there's something in particular you want it to be read out loud to you, you can point your finger to the text and VoiceOver will announce this text that is being pointed, what the camera sees at least. So if the camera sees you pointing at certain text through the camera, it will read it out to you, whether that's a paragraph or maybe that's an item on the shelf or that's a price tag, VoiceOver will attempt to read it. Other things that VoiceOver can do is recognize people or recognize certain objects. So if you set live recognition to door, then VoiceOver will try to find the door and it will tell you the distance um, from your camera to that door. So once again, these options are available on VoiceOver. And if you want to set it up, you would go in, there's two ways to set this up. Um, you will go into your accessibility settings, and from your accessibility settings, you will go to VoiceOver, and then you will go to VoiceOver recognition, and in there you'll see live yeah, it's called live recognition, and you'll be able to toggle it on and off. Now, um, just because it's enabled doesn't mean it's already going to be active as soon as you open up the camera. This will be enabled when you get into the camera and then you do a four finger triple tap, which to me that's impossible for whatever reason. I can't do that gesture. The other way is to add it to the rotor. So for me, I added it to the rotor. If you want to know how to do this, once again, go to accessibility, go to voiceover, go to rotor, and then pretty far down the list, you'll see live recognition. You go there, you will select it, and it will be added onto the rotor. So going back to the camera, you'll go to the rotor, you'll activate it, and you will get to live recognition. Once you're there, you can swipe up or swipe down to go through the different settings, and then you'll double tap to activate. And as soon as you do that, VoiceOver live recognition will be activated. So my experience is not that far different from Be My Eye, seeing AI. However, knowing the distance between the door and you can sometimes be a little helpful. And pointing to text, that one was kind of a little fun. I was able to point to text and it was able to kind of read me certain things, but still didn't find quite much use to it. Maybe some of you guys will, but not for me, not too much at least. So, before I continue, I do want to know if anyone has questions about this before I keep going. Now, Ryan can tell me if anyone's holding up their hands.
I don't see anybody at this time raising their hands. Go ahead and continue. Thanks.
Okay. So, going on about voiceover, some of you guys may have heard that the voiceover training guide has been improved, and it's true. I tried it out myself, and if you're wanting to learn how to use voiceover, or you maybe have a friend that you think will voiceover will benefit them, feel free to take them to the new voiceover tutorial. It's been improved in the sense that this it captures the swiping gestures a bit better. Um, in the past, it kind of would glitch, and sometimes it didn't understand that I was doing this or that, but it's improved a lot more. So that's something quickly to mention. The other thing that I have noticed is, um, so for those of you who may know more than one language, for me, I speak English and Spanish. So sometimes I have family members or friends that only speak in Spanish. And so when they send me a text message, it's in Spanish. Well, with VoiceOver, you can add another voice, and that voice would be, for example, in Spanish. So using the rotor, I can change my rotor to get to voices, and then from there, when I receive a message, I'm able to toggle that Spanish voice, and from there, I'm able to listen to the message in Spanish, which I think is really fascinating. This is something I've been waiting for because back then I needed to go into the settings, change my voiceover language, and it was just a lot of extra steps. And then the voice needed to restart, and then it's just so many extra steps. So they really helped me out with this part. As an instructor, since I do provide voiceover training in Spanish, and I also do JAWS training in Spanish. This has helped me a lot with being able to communicate with people, clients and students. So either way, that's a fascinating tool. The other one is audio ducking. Honestly, not too much use into this. What this is basically voiceover. You can toggle this on and off through the rotor if you want to, but if you're on a phone call, sometimes voiceover gets a little too loud that you can't even hear the person on the phone call. So with this new setting, you're able to basically tell voiceover, no, I want to be able to hear the person on the phone more than I want to hear you, or vice versa. So I know some people would turn off speech when you're on a phone call, but for me, I don't want to turn off speech because maybe I'm trying to look at Amazon at the same time I'm trying to be on the phone, but I can't hear the person talking on the phone because voiceover is too loud or something like that. So you're able to turn on audio ducking with the rotor, and I find that really fascinating. So I like this new tool that they added. Um, you're able to change Siri's EQ settings, meaning you're able to change the um I forgot what the mids, the lows, and the highs. I don't know if any of you guys are interested in that, but that's something that has been mentioned that they really wanted to people to know that that's new. I don't quite use this. I don't find that too important. Now, I don't know if it's necessary for me to go into Braille inputs or Braille displays. I do want to know if anyone here uses any of those items. If they do, feel free to raise your hand and I will, happily dive into those.
There is one hand raised. Chris, did you have a question?
Hi, thank you. Yes, this is Chris. Where do we find the voiceover tutorial?
The voiceover tutorial, so if you tell Siri to open accessibility settings, um, you will get one of the first items is voiceover. You'll tap into that, and then Chris, do you have some vision or no vision?
I have vision.
Okay, so underneath the first item, you'll see voiceover to, I think it's a second blue item. So the second blue item is voiceover tutorial. So you're able to tap into there and you'll be in the voiceover tutorial. Now, if you want to get out of there, you'll swipe left. I'm sorry, you'll on the top right corner, you'll see the exit button. So that's where you'll find the voiceover tutorial.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. I don't see any other hands raised, Roberto, at this time.
Okay. If anyone, changes their mind about me wanting to talk about Braille inputs or Braille displays, feel free, and I'll happily dive into those. But moving on. All right. Now, this is something that I've been noticing a lot of apps have been supporting, not because of, the visual impairments aspect, just simply because they've been noticing that people really like these tools. And so this is called Siri shortcuts. I tend to use them quite a bit. My style or my philosophy is to basically be able to get things done efficiently and in a timely manner. So I like to dive into apps without having to swipe, tap. I want to get there as fast as I can. So Siri shortcuts has been adopted by many companies, and you may not know this, but apps like Amazon, Target, Wallet, Wells Fargo, Discover, banking apps, they're all starting to adopt Siri shortcuts. And so for me, for example, besides using Be My Eyes and Seeing AI and all these other accessibility apps, I'm also using it for Target. So for example, if I go into the Target store, I can tell Siri, now you have to toggle this on just so you know. I can tell Siri, hey, Siri, target scanner. And so what happens is the target scanner will pop up and I'm able to place an item under the camera and it will scan the barcode. Now, you don't need to find the barcode. The target scanner feature will find that for you. You just kind of need to flip the item, 360. And if the item is small and, this will be easy to perform. So if you flip the item 360 and it finds that barcode, it will display the price. It will display all the details. It will let you add it to the cart. And so I find this very fascinating because sometimes I do want to know what the price is, or sometimes I want to know a little bit more details, description of what the store has to say about it. So I've been using this feature quite a bit. I also use Siri shortcuts to take pictures. I use Siri shortcuts to let's see what else I use it for because I quite use it quite a bit for the Amazon app. I'm able to have it search for an item. So if I point the camera at with Amazon, it will try to locate that item and add it to the cart. So Siri shortcuts, really fascinating. Now, the way you will find which apps on your phone support Siri shortcuts is you will tell Siri, hey Siri, shortcuts. You will be taken to a app, and this app will list all of the apps in your phone that support Siri shortcuts. You can toggle certain shortcuts on and off, which ones you need, which ones you don't need. But I do recommend you take a look into this because there are a lot of apps that are supporting Siri shortcuts, and you'll see in there which ones are and which ones aren't. For me, I had like I was saying, Target, I had PDF scanner, I had Outlook, I had so I know Ryan, you and me, this might be kind of fascinating, but you can tell Outlook to take you to the next meeting and pretty cool. It'll take you to the next meeting. But so either way, pretty cool tool, really resourceful. I love it, and this is something I've been using. Either way, does anyone have any questions about Siri shortcuts?
That's really fascinating, actually. I really enjoyed that a lot. I don't see any hands at this time, uh, but thank you.
Okay. So moving along, if you guys want me to talk more about Siri shortcuts, feel free. I do use it quite a bit. And I think I shared with all the Santa Cruz folks out there how I use it. And they're really impressed on how I use it, but that's I can go further into details about that. So In Siri shortcuts in the app, you'll find something called automations. This is another tool that I've been adopting and using quite a bit. So with automations, I don't know if any of you guys use automations with Alexa or automations with Google, but I do tend to use them quite a bit. So with automations, once again, this is found in the Siri shortcut app. You're able to let's just say this is where you could schedule your alarms, your timers, your stopwatches, or you can even, set the if it's sunrise, tell me the time, or do this to my TV, turn on my TV, turn off my TV. There are a lot of tools in here and automations. Um, the way I use automations, as I kind of briefly explained, is my home is entirely controlled through automations. So let's just say I have a bedtime routine. All my Google systems will go off and, perform a number of actions such as announcing the weather for tomorrow and tell me the time and set an alarm and play some music. And so either way, my automations are well controlled. Siri supports this too. And if you have any automations in your home that can be connected through Siri, your home, feel free, use it. It's pretty fun and it's fascinating and it saves you a lot of time on doing certain things. I had this connected to my tree and my Christmas tree, and it was turning it on and off when I wanted it to. So at 11 p.m., it would turn off. My tree was connected to a smart outlet, which is connected to my Siri automations. And my tree would also turn on at 5 p.m. So turn on at 5 p.m. and turn off at 11 p.m. This way, I didn't have to find the cable, find the outlet, plug it in. I didn't want to do all that. So I connected it to my Siri automations. But as you can imagine, there is plenty of things you can do with Siri automations. So, all right. I hope I'm not talking too much. Okay. So let's talk about Apple Intelligence, because I know this is something that is, everyone is wondering, is it useful? Is it resourceful? Can it work for me? How can I use it? So with Apple Intelligence, there has been a number of tools introduced. Now for me, I've been using some of them. I don't use them all, but I I've also experienced some problems. Apple did mention that Apple Intelligence is in beta, so don't quite count on it because you will experience some problems or some, what do you call it? It won't respond to you how it should be. So it's in beta mode, but either way, I still been trying to use it. So Apple Intelligence can prioritize your notifications, or it can give you a summary of your notifications. So it's kind of cool because for me, it's kind of integrated into Siri. So you can say, "Hey Siri, tell me my notifications." But what it would do is it will kind of talk to you as a human. So it will tell you your notifications as if it was another person, like someone just walked up to you and said, "Hey, well, so and so Target wants to let you know that you save there's a discount. And also, um, you have an email from Ryan saying, hey, SJ branch meeting, come to it. Or Bob, check it out, reminder." So either way, it's been pretty helpful, the notifications, and I really like it. But you can customize which apps do you want to receive smart notifications. Not all of them, for example, maybe you don't care about the target one. So you can shut that one off. Um, and it won't summarize it and it won't prioritize it. So you can declare it as not priority, or Apple Intelligence, as it slowly learns you, it will learn which notifications are important to you. So for example, if it notices you go into the Outlook app quite often, what it will do is it will make sure that your Outlook notifications are always at the top, and that is the first thing it mentions. So next time you say, "Hey Siri, do I have any notifications?" Even though you received 10 notifications and Outlook is the first one and the last one, it will make sure to prioritize your Outlook notifications to be the first top two. So for me, that's been kind of helpful. And sometimes when I mean it glitches is sometimes it won't even tell me that I have notifications. But either way, it works. It helps me with my emails from Gmail as well, and it has helped me with my packages. So sometimes it knows that I receive packages at the front door. It will let me know, oh, you have a package at the front door, just so you know. And from Outlook, you have a meeting coming up soon. And from your Gmail, your bill's due. So it'll do it something like that, which is really, really cool. What Apple has said is Apple Intelligence is supposed to slowly learn your behaviors and kind of work with you on that. So pretty cool. All right. Anyone have any questions, or should I just keep on going?
I have a quick question, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for this information. It's really helpful. Um, can you have something priority more than obviously something else, but still not have it at the top of the list? And so I think is it something that where Apple Intelligence is just gonna continue to learn your patterns, and therefore they know that, let's say, your Gmail is important to you, but not as important as your, let's say, your Yahoo and your the mail app and Outlook, and it'll just prioritize the Gmail as like number 4 out of the 4 different mail apps or something like that.
So you can personalize it
Ah,
as it's learning who you are. So I think what it does, from what I was kind of reading into it, is it notices the pattern of which apps you tend to open and which notifications you tend to tap into. So I think it kind of does a little bit of that. Now, if you're using the Mail app, it will, and it notices like, oh, you tend to open emails from this sender quite often. So what it does is it prioritizes those emails. And when it prioritizes those emails from the Mail app, those are the emails you'll see in your notifications more often. So it's kind of cool the way it figures it out, but it's noticing a pattern of which ones you are tapping into the most. So meaning which ones you're selecting and opening, and which ones you spend more time reading. So stuff like that. Those are the patterns it starts to behave. But yes, you are able to personalize it and tell it to ignore this one, or don't do this, or don't do that. So you do have that customization.
very cool. Thanks.
Okay. So this one is called call recording. As we all know that now you can record your phone calls with with iPhones. But something that Apple Intelligence offers, kind of like these Zoom calls, is Apple Intelligence is able to give you a summary of the phone call that you were in. This will get sent into your notes, but I find this really fascinating because if you're in a meeting and it's a phone call style, well, you'll have the notes there and you can copy and paste this into your notes, or maybe you have a doctor's appointment over the phone. Well, you can record this. Of course, you would have to tell them, but I think it announces it either way. And so you're able to record the phone call, and Apple Intelligence will give you a summary of that phone call. Um, Sorry, this is kind of the same thing over here. Something worthy of mentioning is I know some of us use focus mode, and so we may set up do not disturb, or we may set up focus mode to work, or focus mode to um, personal time. So when we set this up, Apple Intelligence is also able to personalize that a little bit more. Um, but it's basically kind of what I just mentioned a little bit earlier. So that's why I said it's a little bit of a repeat, but you're able to set more rules, as in which notifications are allowed to come in and get out. So for example, if you have work mode enabled and you don't want phone calls from you want phone calls from X, Y, and Z to still be able to come in. Well, something that you can do is Apple Intelligence will still let you know, hey, just so you know, you did miss a call from this person and it's going to be on your notifications. It's still going to pull up just so you don't miss that phone call. This way you don't need to set up emergency bypass or something like that. But either way, just something like that might be helpful. Writing tools. Okay, so this one's pretty cool. With writing tools, you're able to use a voiceover rotor, or you're able to use voiceover to basically select text in an email or in Microsoft Word. And when you select text, you're able to get Apple Intelligence to give you, maybe you want to change the style of the writing. So once you highlight it, a menu will pop up and you can swipe, and it'll give you some custom actions of how you want this to be personalized. Like, do you want this shorter? Do you want this more professionally done? And when you select those options, um, it will change the text on the fly, which is pretty cool. So it changes the text, and this helps out if you want to be able to send an email more professionally done, or maybe you're in a message and you feel like you need to consolidate everything because maybe you feel like you're saying it too much, or maybe there's some grammar errors, and you want to fix them. Well, Apple Intelligence will go and fix your grammar mistakes or add on some extra words to make it more sense. I haven't played too much with this. I did play with it a little bit, and um, I guess I don't use it too often. I don't quite need it because sometimes I do want to like do a whole entire statement, meaning I will write up three pages and I want to see if it can consolidate that. But I don't know. It hasn't figured out me yet. It hasn't figured out the way my style, my writing. So it might help you guys, but it's cool. It's fascinating the way it works. All right, before I continue, does anyone have any questions?
Yes, we do have two hands raised, excuse me. Beverly, you are first. Go ahead.
Hi, Roberto. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Mhm.
hear you.
Okay. I wanted to know about the recording. If I am talking to you on the telephone, on the iPhone, how do I start that recording and how do I stop it?
So the recording is when you're on a phone call, the recording is on the one of the first items on the, let's see. I would have to make a phone call because I don't always remember on top of my head. But from what I remember, it's on the top left. So meaning if you swipe, um, I would suggest do a two-finger swipe up. And when you do that, you'll hear record call, and you can double tap on there and it'll announce to both parties, or all parties are on the phone line, recording in progress. It's kind of like what the way this one is doing, or this call is being recorded. And that's how you would start that recording. And if you need any additional help, I'm always happy to help out.
Thank you. And how do I stop it?
Actually, I usually hang up, but I think I haven't played with that part. I always just record it just for fun, and then I'm like, all right, thank you, bye.
Okay.
So I haven't stopped it, but I want to get back to you on that.
Thank you so much.
Perla, I see that you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys. I came in late, so I will be looking for the recording for the first part of the meeting. But okay, Beverly just asked my one of my questions, and related to that, where does the recording go? Where do you find the recording after the phone call has ended?
It goes into your notes.
Oh, okay. So it creates a new note.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's great. Okay. Then the other question. I know that a lot of this isn't going to work for me because I'm still working with a 12 Pro. Um, is this the time to buy a new phone? I guess is one of my questions. I just keep putting it off and putting it off because I don't want to have to deal with it.
Well, okay, so if you do hear some of the if you do go back to the recording of this,
Mhm.
and I did talk a little bit about voiceover and some of the new things it does provide. Um, and if you find those tools helpful, then it might be worthy of upgrading. So usually for me, I just kind of like, am I going to use that feature? Am I going to use that feature? And sometimes it is hard to, know what am I going to use it if I never used it in the past. So from an iPhone 12, I don't know. I think you might like some of the new features. So it's really, it's up to you guys, but I would upgrade by then. In my personal opinion, I would upgrade. I mean,
Um,
at least it would be good enough. But if my phone is in good condition, then I may not upgrade.
so one of the things that I'm noticing is when in my rotor now, I mean, I have 18.21 now. So what I'm finding, for example, in my rotor, I have voices.
Hmm.
And when I go to settings and try to get it off my rotor, it stays. I can't seem to unload it because I don't want to change voices all the time. Are there things in the rotor now that are just permanent because Apple thinks we should have them?
No, no, it should be able to come off when you go into voiceover rotor, and
Right.
then you double tap, and
You
it should
uncheck
just
it. Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it should come off after that.
I've done that a couple of times. Okay. That's something I have to call Apple on then. Okay. All right. So I'll start looking at the 16. Ugh. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, if you have, since you do have the updates, iOS 18, that's pretty good still.
Yeah, I think this is probably the last time they'll update down to the 12 because I think that's the last on the bottom of the list. So that means next year it'll be off their list. So okay, all right, something to think about.
Thanks, Perla. Bob,
Thank you, guys.
of course, thank you. Bob, I saw that you had your hand raised. Did you still have a question?
No, it got answered. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Go ahead, Roberto.
Okay, so I was talking about writing too. All right. Okay. This feature, I don't know if you guys will find it relevant, but if you guys do, it's called Playground. This is only available on iOS. Um, I mean, iPhone 16s and the newer devices. So this one's called Playground, and it's an app where you can create images. You can insert images and I don't know, just create different stuff. I played with it with VoiceOver. Surprisingly, it was accessible, but the app itself would kind of freeze on me or something like that. Either way, I'm able to use VoiceOver to drag items here and there. So for example, if I were to ask it to create an image of me wearing a Santa hat, um, or next to a Christmas tree, and I can select me as one of the people to be in the photo, and then I can tell it to create a tree and put a hat on me or Santa outfit on me. It will do all this stuff. Um, and like I said, it is accessible to VoiceOver. This is using ChatGPT with Apple Intelligence, and so pretty fascinating app. But not sure what I would use it for. So I just wanted to kind of throw it out there. It is accessible, just so you guys know. I think that's why I have it here, just in case. All right. This one's interesting. This one's called um, picture background removal. This is only for the newer devices also. And this is pretty fascinating. It does work, but I wasn't able to get it to work with VoiceOver. But if you're using Zoom or so if you're a low vision user, you may be able to see what's going on. So what I was able to do is I was able to take a picture of myself, and there was quite a bit of um, background items behind me, and I was able to, because I am a low vision user, I'm able to pinch zoom and pinch zoom really closely and look at the image. And what I had to do is I had to circle certain items on the screen. Now, I'm not the best. I can't, because I am low vision, I can't quite circle around each item. But either way, Apple Intelligence is so smart that it knew what I was trying to highlight. Like, even though wasn't accurate on any of the items that I circled, and I can assure you I was not accurate. I wish I could screen record it so you guys could see. It still knew what to remove. So I circled my window, and my circle was like I don't know, a wobbly circle. It still removed the curtain and it put in a wall. And I was like, what? Really cool. Now what was interesting about this is on the window frame, besides there being a window, there was items on the how do you call it, window frame, the bottom part. So there was items there like a picture, like a box, like a cologne or something like that. There was items on there, and like I said, it removed the window, it replaced it with a wall, but it still kept everything else there, which was pretty cool. So then I circled the items on the frame, and then it replaced it with it being basically like it almost looked like a whiteboard afterwards. And then I was sitting on a chair. I circled the back piece, the backrest of the chair. Once again, I'm not doing perfect circles, which this is what I'm saying. It's, I would say, still really accessible to those who are still low vision, and it was able to replace my chair with a like a backrest. So I'm sitting on a rolling chair, but it replaced it with a standard chair, which I thought was like, what the heck? Okay. I circled the chair again, and it replaced it with a door. So either way, pretty cool what it's able to do. Um, but it is accessible. I mean, it's not accessible with VoiceOver quite yet, at least not that I was able to figure out. I also use other photo tools, such as like trying to, change the lighting, but I think those features have been around for a while. So changing the lighting, correcting, meaning trying to correct little um, blurry areas, it was able to kind of fix those things. But once again, those features have already been around. You should still be able to access those, but those features are accessible with VoiceOver. So yeah, that was pretty fascinating. I probably should have showing you guys a screenshot of what the photo looked like, and then another screenshot of how I was able to correct it, even though I can't really see that well. Okay. So visual intelligence. Now, for those of you guys who have the iPhone 16, this is something you guys may be playing with or have already played with. I don't have an iPhone 16, but I do have the newest iPad. So I was able to play with these tools using the iPad, but the iPad apparently doesn't qualify for visual intelligence, which, whatever. Either way, from what I had a friend playing with visual intelligence, and they were able to tell me that um the difference is from visual intelligence versus seeing AI or Be My AI is that you're able to just, I guess you can, it's almost the exact same thing, but um, you're able to do it more on the fly. And from what I was understanding, it's a little bit faster than Be My AI. So as you guys already know, with Be My AI, you're able to ask a question of what it sees, but with um, visual intelligence, you're able to get the camera, um, you're able to ask questions about what it's seeing, but it's a little bit more faster and responsive. Um, Once again, I don't know, like I wasn't able to personally play with it, but it's basically like Be My AI, but a little bit faster. So it also has a Google search button on it. And so you have three options. You have ask ChatGPT, take a picture, or Google, basically like a Google search of maybe what this landmark is. Um, but that's really all I had to say about Apple Intelligence. I don't know if anyone wants to add on to this. If anyone has played with it, feel free, because we're all here to learn together.
I don't see any hands raised or anybody hopping on to add anything. It's a lot of really cool information.
All right. Give me a quick second. Okay. So I covered most of everything. That was what do you call it? That was everything that I've been able to play with. And once again, some of these features are still in development. Apple Intelligence has announced that they are still going to be releasing new stuff. From my understanding, is that when you have Apple Intelligence, you can connect your ChatGPT account with it. Because with Apple Intelligence, you only the free version, which is the one that comes with the iPhone 16 or the newest Mac or the newest iPad. Um, you only get a certain amount of minutes to talk to ChatGPT. Also, Siri, so to access ChatGPT, I mean, to access Apple Intelligence, you do the same thing as if you were talking to Siri, but the difference is that you'll Siri will say, "Hey, do you want me to forward this question to ChatGPT?" And it will forward it. Sometimes it'll do it automatically, but sometimes it'll ask you, "Hey, do you want me to send this question to ChatGPT to see if ChatGPT can answer it?" And so ChatGPT will then try to answer the question if Siri can answer it. Now, there is this animation what do you call it, like feedback. So when you ask Siri, "Hey Siri, X, Y, and Z," your screen will change and it will add this animation effect to let you know that you do have Apple Intelligence enabled. I think I heard someone raise their hand or something like that.
Yes, Patrice, you have your hand
Audio
raised.
now unmuted.
Hi.
Sumas has new
Quick question. I was wondering if visual intelligence is reached by going to the rotor and adding it to the rotor, or how do we find visual intelligence and engage
Looks like
it?
you're done talking, so we'll lower your hand in 8 seconds. Sumas has new
Sorry.
window.
So the way you access it is the iOS 6, I mean sorry, the iPhones, the new ones, they have an extra button. And I don't think it's a button or something new on there, and that's how you would access it, with that button there.
Oh, I always
Sumas
wonder what
has
that
new
button
window.
was for.
Yeah, that's for your visual
Yeah.
intelligence.
Okay, I have a 16 and it's above the volume buttons. I just assumed, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
you can use that to access your visual intelligence, and as soon
Diane
as
has left the meeting.
once
Sorry.
you activate it, you'll see three options, which is ask ChatGPT what it's seeing,
Mhm.
or take a picture, or basically do a reverse search lookup.
Cool. That's great. Thanks so much, Roberto.
Yeah. So it's kind of, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like Be My AI, but a
Yeah.
bit faster because it's
Yeah,
already there.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I love speed. Okay, thanks.
In regard, just to add to that with that question, in regard to the button on the iPhone, I know that there's two new buttons. So one above the volume and then the flat one that's specifically made for the camera. Are you referring to
I
which
think the
one again?
flat one,
The
that's
flat
the one I
one?
was referring. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a button.
Okay, yeah, it's like the bottom right side of the
Audio now
phone.
unmuted.
Thank you.
Sumas
I'll
has new
I'll check.
window.
Yeah, I know that button is a mystery to me as well. But I'll check them. I'll check it out. Thank you, Brian, for the
Awesome.
clarification. Thanks.
Yeah. Holly, I see that you have your hand raised.
Thank you. And thank you, Roberto. Very, very good training, very helpful. I'd like to go back towards the beginning, please, where you were talking about shopping with Target. And was it screen recognition? You were pointing, forgive me, would you mind overviewing that again? You were pointing your phone at a product, I believe, and it was,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So
Thank you.
two separate features, but I'll talk about the Siri shortcuts. So for Siri shortcuts, you can tell your phone open shortcuts,
Okay.
and it will open up an app called Shortcuts. And in this app, you will see all the apps that support Siri shortcuts. And there will be a number of, for each app, you'll see which Siri shortcuts do they support, and you can enable it or disable it. So what this means is, in the future, after you enable that shortcut, you can tell that specific app So you would say like, "Hey Siri, target scanner." And so what that does is it launches a target app, but not just that, it will launch the target scanner. And so that will get the target app to open, and then it will go into the target scanner and it will start scanning for a barcode. So in the future, when you say, "Hey Siri, target scanner," you'll be on the barcode scanner of Target's app. And it'll be scanning for items, and it'll look for the barcode, and all you have to do really is just grab an item on the shelf and flip it 360 until it scans that barcode. It's very smooth experience. It's not too challenging either way. And on that app, you'll see all the information you need to see with VoiceOver, or just select with speak, whichever way you want to do it. But you'll see it there, and it's pretty cool.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
So that's in store. That's not a product here at the house. Okay. That's what I thought. I wanted to clarify that. Thank you. Please go ahead.
well, I mean, if you bought a Target item and it's in your house, you should still be able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So but you do need to have the Target app downloaded in order to do that.
Hmm.
Either way, okay, so going to the live recognition, that was the other item I was talking about, and that's
Right.
through VoiceOver. So VoiceOver has this live recognition tool, and in this tool, you're able to activate it through the rotor or a four-finger triple tap on the camera. So you need to be inside of the camera, and when you're in the camera, you might see an additional VoiceOver rotor option, and if it's not there, then you're gonna have to add it there. But let's just say it's there. You will toggle the rotor to live recognition. And then when you swipe down or you swipe up, you'll be toggling through a menu of live recognition options, such as look for a door, look for text, look for a person. So basically kind of like what Seeing AI is doing already.
Mhm.
But and what it does is it can tell you the distance between the door and you, and or if you enable the point to speak, then what it does is whatever it sees your finger pointing at, the camera will read that text to you.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Great.
yeah, new features on iOS 18.
Mhm. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward also to going back over the recording. A lot of great material here, and thanks. And thanks, Ryan.
Agreed. Yeah, that's wonderful. Um, Diane, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yes, am I unmuted?
You are. We can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, terrific. Okay. I had to cut out and come back because when you're in your phone, I couldn't unmute myself. I couldn't raise a hand. The keypad doesn't function the way it normally does. So I came back using the Zoom link instead. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this. It's been really informative. I appreciate how just you're going through all these things, and it's been really thorough and helpful. My biggest problem that I'm experiencing right now, I had this yesterday, and it's because I use my calendar as sort of a to-do list for myself. So I'll schedule things for 10 p.m. and I'll just have them recur every day or once a week until I actually get them done. And it's just these reminders of like all kinds of little things that aren't, there's no deadline to it, but things I need to get completed. And it's just my way of being able to go to my calendar and having my whole to do accessible, so when I have open time, I jump ahead to 10 p.m. and I can see all the stuff on my list. For some reason now, since I've updated, it will no longer delete items from my calendar that are recurring items. And I did some research on this, and it's happened before, but it was many, many years ago. And it told me to go into my settings and to drop my calendar from iCloud. And then it would let me do that, but it did not fix the problem. And so I tried all kinds of different things to, figure it out, and it just was really uncooperative. And then the hack I finally ended up with is that I would just set it for a annual thing. So I thought I just sort of pushed it off for another year. I don't have to deal with it daily anymore. I just said, remind me, do this every year. And so, but it's so the events are still there, but they won't see them again until next year. Um, so are there bugs with this? I've noticed that Siri is much slower to respond, and I'm wondering if maybe I have intelligence on, and there's so much more it has to go through to get the answer. Do you have any updates as far as bugs with this? And
As far as with the calendar, I haven't experienced bugs like that,
mhm.
where it's a challenge to delete stuff. I do tend to I mean I do use Siri to manage my calendar 60% of the time, and I'll ask Siri to remove items or add items or modify items. But as
Mhm.
when I go manually into the calendar, I haven't experienced a bug like that one. Although I am
Yeah.
using I do tend to use an iPhone 15, 14, or 13, but not I haven't quite got my hands onto the iPhone 16. As far as Siri responses, I just whenever I experience bugs, um other than restarting the phone, what also helps is just me, since it's even just restarting my router, because I don't know, Wi-Fi since it's
Oh,
just
interesting.
tends to be slow or something like that.
Hmm.
I sometimes do run I don't remember if Siri can do this. I think Siri can only do it with certain modems, but you can tell Siri to run an internet speed test, and it'll tell you if your internet's going slow or fast. But either way,
Hmm.
um, so those are some things
Hmm.
that help me
Is
with
it
Siri to see if it's having its weird moments, hiccups.
Is it
Um,
is it is there a better way for managing to-do lists? Because it's so handy to just have it right in my calendar, but it's really annoying that I can't delete these things.
um,
And I have so many of them because these are things that I've done already, and I want to get rid of them. I'm trying to just catch up and clean house now that it's the first of the year. Um,
I would say so. An option I would say is call Apple Accessibility, or you can,
okay,
either you can schedule a moment with us, or call Apple Accessibility regarding your
okay,
calendar glitch.
yeah, I'll call Apple.
See if they can help you with the calendar, because that's really odd. That's not supposed to be happening. But either way,
Okay,
besides that,
great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And okay, great.
oh, okay, yeah.
Very helpful.
Regarding other ways of handling your schedule, I have plenty of ways of how I do that. Um, I use automations, and with automations, basically I have it tell me, besides telling me the time, the weather, it tells me events that I have on my calendar. And I don't know if this would exactly fix what you're going through, but it's able to guide me through that.
Mm-hmm.
So it will
Okay.
just tell me time, date, and then to-do list, um, and reminders and events on my calendar. So either way, something
How
that
how do you toggle Apple Intelligence on or off?
when you go into your settings,
Uh-huh.
um, one of the options is Siri and Apple Intelligence, and so you will select that option. And when you go into there, you'll see an option for Apple Intelligence, and you should be able to
Okay.
toggle it off if you don't
Okay,
mind.
great. Thanks.
Wonderful, great questions. Let's see, Perla, I see that you have your hand raised.
Hi, listening to Diane's question, on the TTJ Tech, Matt uses reminders for lists like that. So you might look into that. Or go on YouTube and look for his the session on reminders. Diane, that was for Diane. Okay.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering if someone would chime in. Thanks, Perla. Bob, you have your hand raised.
Also for Diane, Diane, if you have a smart speaker, you might consider using that for your reminders. That's my primary tool that I use for reminders. And also your new Meta glasses, you can do reminders with your Meta glasses.
Very cool. Thanks, Bob. At this time, Roberto, no other hands are raised.
Okay, well,
So
I'm pretty sure I forgot one or two things to mention, but I do thank everyone for coming and joining us. And if you guys ever have any future questions or anything you guys want to know more further into details, I am always happy to um, share them. And I will continue playing around with Apple Intelligence. Like I said, it's still in beta form. That's what Apple said. So I'm pretty sure there are still many roads to take. I've experienced many glitches with Apple Intelligence. But at the same time, I think I still prefer to use Gemini and ChatGPT versus Apple Intelligence here and there, at least to do what they call the itinerary list. For me, it's had problems. But either way, I think I heard another question.
yeah, go ahead, Bob. Excuse me.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Roberto. Great presentation today. I really appreciate this. Uh, Roberto, are you able to create a Siri shortcut to enable the live camera feature? So you could just ask Siri to do it? Or do you have to go all the way through like you were originally telling us?
Unfortunately, there's no Siri shortcut for the live feature. The fastest way I would imagine is what you can do is you can change the voiceover commands, voiceover gestures. So if you're in the camera and maybe you change to, for example, uh, two finger triple tap, or maybe single finger triple tap, you can change it to that to make it much more easier. But no, there's no Siri shortcut for that at this time.
Thank you.
Roberto, I have a question. Are there any new features or anything in development that you know of that may be of interest to us and our community and our needs?
In Sorry, in what sense?
Sorry, with like new updates and so forth, anything um, within your research were you able to find incoming?
There are plenty. So I think for me, one of the things that Meta glasses are not doing quite yet, and that I was able to do is with Be My AI. Um, if you take a picture and you ask it a follow-up question. So this is something I tend to ask. So for example, if I'm at a shopping store or a grocery store and I want to know the price of an item, I can take a picture of the shelf. And what it does is I can ask it a follow-up question like, what's the price of the paprika, for example? And it'll tell me the price of the paprika. So I know that's something that Meta glasses have been struggling with. Um, but Be My AI can answer those kinds of questions. Also, I've used Be My AI to tell me like what are the cooking instructions for this item. So if I take a picture of I don't know, frozen meal, it'll tell me it doesn't need to know the item, but it'll use AI to basically find the cooking instructions for that item or the nutritional facts, kind of like what Seeing AI does. But instead of having to hop over to Seeing AI, you can still stick and Be My AI and just ask. You just have to figure out how to ask that question, and Be My AI will eventually answer what you're looking for. So pretty cool.
Yes, very cool. Yeah, learning new verbiage to talk to Siri or the assistant or Be My AI is always um, a new challenge, I find. So
Yeah. Another tool that I tend to use because these apps are still kind of looking, Apple Intelligence, Meta, smart glasses are still not doing, Envision is doing it, is for me, one of the tools that I shared with the Santa Cruz group is I tend to use Orion to search for items or search for text. So if I'm walking, let's just say I'm walking, looking for an apartment number, for example. I'm in an apartment complex. I can say, "Hey Siri, search for text with Orion." And so what it does, this is a Siri shortcut. Um, from your home screen, if you say, "Hey Siri, search for text with Orion," you can search for text. such as apartment numbers, or maybe you're looking through mail and you can search through for your specific name, or maybe you're looking for an item at the store. That's another way of doing it. Um, so using Orion and setting up the Siri shortcuts can be really handy for that. I know Envision AI also supports that, so that's another option there too.
Very cool. Diane, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. And thanks, Perla and Bob, for weighing in on my question too. Um, a couple of things. One is the button on the iPhone 15 in the upper left-hand corner, which you can program to open various apps. Can you use that to jump to some of these features?
I think it's very limited to what you can do. If you go into, I'm trying to remember, but if you, where is it? There, I think under accessibility, and I think where you'll see touch, and when you go into there, you'll see the number of options that you're able to assign that
Oh,
button
I
to
see.
do.
Okay. And then I had another question and it has escaped me. So, real quick. Oh, yeah. So when you're in this Apple Intelligence, is this sort of a live video? It's not snapping a picture and giving you information. It's actually video, like real time.
Um, yes, kind of like what voiceover recognition is. So basically, you're able to get if you're moving the camera, well, depending on how you use it. So, for example, like voiceover recognition, if you have voiceover on and you're pointing the camera at something, it's kind of telling you exactly what it sees. And as you pan the camera around or you're walking around, it's
Right.
telling you live what's going on.
Okay, so it is video. It's actually giving you video feedback. Interesting. Wow, that's amazing. And I
But
loved the text feature too, because with my email out, I'm having to email off my phone. And boy, could I have used that the last few days? Because it was very difficult to, edit a long email and make sure it was professional and, uh,
yeah,
using
but
dictation. And yeah, it was tough. So that'll
yeah.
be very helpful. I want to use that right away.
But just to clarify, so that's done through voiceover recognition, which is not Apple Intelligence.
Yes.
A little bit, yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah, the voiceover recognition feature. I kind of backtracked to a different part. I took notes, so hopefully I have good notes on that. Thanks.
Very cool. I don't see any other hands raised at this time. We'll give everyone just a quick moment if they'd like to raise their hand and ask a question. So no other hands are raised, Roberto, at this time.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, let me see if I have anything else that is kind of fun to share. I know we all kind of been, we're all still waiting for, Glidance and Bipad to kind of show us their, amazing tools and toys. Um, I'm just thinking of anything else. I know there's some, but I don't think it quite works with us. Hmm.
Any word on a Giga and their glasses?
Not that I know of, not yet.
Yeah.
I know they're hoping to come pretty soon again. I don't know if anyone's played with InnoSearch AI. I've been playing with it a little bit longer. Um, but I'm still waiting on my $10 rewards. I did refer a few people, but I haven't got my $10 rewards. Either way, if you've been playing with InnoSearch AI, um, they're not lying. Their website is so simple, easy to use. That's something that I was playing with a few times, and for my holiday shopping, I did do some of that with InnoSearch AI. So really easy website to use. It works with NVDA, it works with JAWS, I didn't get to play with it with VoiceOver, but it does work with those too. And it's only on a website platform so far, so you need a browser to use it. I think I was using it with TalkBack on a website, and it was kind of working, but I didn't quite get too far into that. I was also using, what do you call this other thing? I don't know if anyone uses TikTok, but TikTok now has added a new screen reader mode where you are able to use VoiceOver to access TikTok. I know TikTok is, getting close to being banned, but they still added some new screen reader functions and also low vision functions as well. They have a low vision tool in there, so you can increase and decrease the text. I don't know why it just doesn't use your phone settings or your device settings, but either way, the point is that they added accessibility tools for us if anyone uses TikTok.
Awesome. I do. And so this that'll be helpful for me because I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, so go into
Okay.
your settings and then
Yeah.
go into accessibility, and then you'll see two options there: screen reader mode and low vision mode, which you can change the size of text.
Very cool. For me, with my low vision settings, my text takes up like the whole screen practically. And so I miss a lot of what I can see of the video because the text is in the way. So that'd be great if I could adjust it more. So that's really cool. Thanks, Roberto. Does anyone else have any other questions at this time? Perfect. Roberto, thanks for those extra tips too. Those are always really fun and helpful. Thanks, Roberto, again for providing so much information, so thorough. I appreciate you doing so much research and providing, this information. I know 18 is has kind of promised to be, and with Apple Intelligent has kind of promised to be as best as possible inclusive and accessible and have so many wonderful key features that we as a blind and low vision community can utilize, let alone even outside of our needs, just in our normal day-to-day life. And so it's good to have those insights. Yeah, and I'm excited to continue to see what is to come.
So am I. I am actually. I'm hoping that it's it can do a lot. I've been playing with these AI tools, and I am hoping for a lot. I do know that they really are changing the game. After Be My Eyes release, it's Be My AI. That was just a game changer. At that point, we all knew where this was going.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone uses it, but there's also, worthy mention PixieBot. Um, PixieBot basically does a video description of what your camera. So, for example, if you recorded a video, but you want to know what that video recording is, or maybe you're on social media and you download a video and you want to know what that video recording is, feel free to try out PixieBot. PixieBot will give you an audio description of downloaded videos. So that's a worthy mention.
Are you able to spell that?
PixieBot spelled PICCYBOT.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Roberto, so much. We are all so grateful for you and then being a part of the Vista Center. And then I'm super thrilled and honored that you are a part of, and I feel super proud that you're a part of the AT team. So thank you again so much. And with that, we'll close.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Roberto.
Yeah. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you.
Take care.